I guess everyone knows by now that the biggest shock that everybody got is that BTS I've actually registered their biggest earning yet, but they actually lost money. Net profit is a loss, and we're gonna go through why. So a lot of people are, the haters are laughing at them, saying that they're mismanaging their money or whatever. Let's go through. I'll go through the summary first, the highlights, and then let's discuss. And maybe as we go through it, we're going to discuss and touch on some points, some analysis as well. Okay. So the total revenue. So no taxes paid, no taxes yet, no whatever. Just the gross revenue. It is two this is in trillion. So 2 trillion 254. I always am confused whenever it is one. 2 trillion 254 billion 540,000. This is their highest to date. And so everybody's like wondering, if it is their highest today, why did they lose money? And then from that, artist development is 1.4. Artist direct involvement and artist indirect involvement is a little less. It's 808 million. Okay, but if you see here, the net profit is negative 3,300. So everyone is so confused as to why this is happening. Why did you lose money if you registered the highest gross revenue yet? Okay, so in their report, they actually split it in, sorry, they split it into five: artist direct involvement, artist indirect involvement, new technology, Hybe America, and the future. That's not, I put in Hybe America twice. So their future plans. That's how they split their reporting in the conference call. So again, this is available for everybody to listen to. If you want, there is a an English translation. So you just have to bear the Korean first, the Koreans that are talking, which is the CEO and the CFO, and then in between them, a woman translates what they're saying. Okay, first they're in the artist direct involvement. Hi, Gemini and Iris Matthew. Okay. So one major thing is that not majority, all of the sales when it comes to albums and stuff, they base it off Circle Chart, not anywhere else. So whenever they make the report, the number that you will see is actually based on Circle Chart. And we've discussed the difference. The major edge that Circle Chart has over others is that in Circle Chart they count the purchase of the person, not what they shipped. So even if they shipped 1 million copies, if only 800,000 purchased based on the barcodes and scans and receipts, then they will refer to the actual sale, not the actual number of albums that were bought by customers. Okay, so in recorded music, a total of 28.3 million albums were sold. And this translates to 40% of albums sold in Circle Chart. So they take the majority of the sales in Circle Chart. Okay, that's a big number actually. The biggest contributors are 17 and Hypen and TXT, because they are the ones that had the most amount of albums sold. So for 17, they are the big winner. They this is the second year where they sold a total of 10 million copies of their album. So based on Circle Chart, okay, so this is actual scanned based on barcodes and all. And then Enhypen, a total of 5.45, and I think it's 5.15 if I hear it correctly, for TXT. So they are the best, the biggest contributors when it comes to sales. They also mentioned New Jeans. They sold a total of 3 million, and they are the biggest when it comes to girl group. Um, so Bang Luna said, so these three are the big. Yes, they are the biggest. So, and then when it comes to streaming, they have been they have been the all hype artists have been streamed 5.3 billion times. Okay. And that amounts to, this is actually pretty impressive. They have 3.5% of total global Spotify streaming. So for you to even get inside the, like, for you to even be accounted for 1% and for them to be 3.5% of total streams, that's pretty big. So it's pretty impressive actually. And this is a big jump in terms of streams, because they, as you know, for when prior to the pandemic, BTS really heavily relied on sales, and then during the pandemic and all the way after the pandemic, BTS actually went ahead with the sales. Like they jumped in terms of streams. And that has been the major lift. That's what's actually carrying BTS members to Billboard Hot 100 and in other ranking outside of South Korea. It's the streams. So they really managed to advance like greatly in the streams. Okay. Next, so they mentioned specifically RM, Jimin, V, and Jungkook. These three they specifically mentioned because they got the most amount of streams. And of course, I'm not gonna forget Jin, because he had a major release. So for this four, RM's so they were specifically mentioned because they entered Billboard Hot 100, and as you know, with a lack of airplay and spins, then they really relied heavily on streams. So they delivered on streams. For RM, it was the Never Play with Megan Thee Stallion, and then the rest they're solos. Okay, so all right. So these are the biggest contributors when it comes to streams. And I think that's what's going to be the future trend. They also mentioned, I mean, streaming for artists from Asia to really make it big in the US, or at the very least be recognized or enter the charts. It will really have to be the streams. They also mentioned Le Seraphim. So this year they had two entries inside Billboard Hot 100, Crazy and Easy. Crazy actually managed to stay for 2 weeks. Easy stayed for 1 week. But this is a huge jump considering they don't have a US promotion. And they are going to release their next album. I'm very, very excited. I think they're going to make a major push to the US, which they actually confirmed. They said that the last concert tour of Les Seraphim was actually 2023, and in 2025 they're going to have a world tour. I hope world tour means it includes North America. Okay. They also mentioned Isle It for their Magnetic 100 entry. So they are the only act from South Korea, possibly the only act from Asia who the fastest act from Asia who managed to enter Billboard Hot 100 from the day of their debut. It took them about 3 weeks to get inside Billboard Hot 100. So Billboard has not confirmed, but so far, unless anybody can prove otherwise, they actually hold that record. Okay. One question here: will any other K-pop act have ticket sales when BTS tours again? Let's see. Okay, so next is concerts. So they're done with album sales. They're done with streams. They go to concerts. They had a total of 147 concerts in 2024 and 25 fan meetings. And again, this is the highest concert sales of all time. Okay, highest ever, because they had more groups contributing to the gross ticket sales. And the top three leading 17, Hypen, and TXT. So this is the big three in terms of sales and in terms of concerts in 2024. In terms of streaming, it's still BTS. Okay. Okay, so that was the artist direct involvement. Let's go to the indirect involvement. Okay. Eyelid fighting. I love them so much. Where is that? Eyelid fighting. Yeah. Okay. So for merchandising and licensing, the big winner is light sticks. Any kind of concert related merch, that is still where they are getting their biggest sales when it comes to merchandising. But outside of that, the biggest contributor are the brats, BT21. So they were the first one mentioned. They The wording is that they were surprised to see, pleasantly surprised to see a huge contribution from their licensing, and that is BT21 and the Tiny Ten. So these two are the big contributors. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys know about this running joke between Tiny Ten and BT21, but the BT21 fan base is actually accusing Tiny Ten of being um, nepo babies. Okay, so Carla Girl is asking Brown Nuna, right? So Carla Girl is asking, so does that mean it took three groups to match BTS? Three groups aren't enough, and I am going to expound on that later. But in terms of contribution in sales and concerts, yes, it took three groups with the support of others. But in terms of general contribution, no, all of them put together can still match the height of the contribution of BTS. I firmly believe that Hybe should buy BT21 from Line. So as you know, BT21 is actually co-owned by Line. So I think Hybe should either buy Line or buy the BT21 license, because I think they can do more with it, and they can also earn more if they're going to buy it. Okay. Lisa's light stick is a hazard. And then others also contributed, which is like the mini teen of 17. So this is their version of BT21. Oh, that's so bad. Like this, their own animated characters. Okay. Mini teen is how they call it. And of course, Le Seraphim also have Films Club. This is so cute. So I have just registered as an official fan. I'm now a paying fan club member of Le Seraphim, and I'm going to buy one of them. So my bias is Yunjin, so I'm probably going to buy this. But my bias wrecker is actually Sakura. Okay. All right. So next, next is Hybe America. This they a lot of questions were actually asked about Hybe America. But anyway, so they one of the major moves that they made is hiring Cade Hudson, which is a former CAA agent. I'm not sure, for those of you who aren't from the US, you may not be familiar, but you so there are several like big they're not a management company, like agents, a group of agents. So and CAA is arguably the biggest. So to expand on that a little bit more, you love Sakura. So there is a difference between an agent, a manager, and a casting director. So an agent is the one that looks for work. And usually agents don't work for themselves, they work for a company, and they do need a license to actually do that. A manager is the one that takes care of you, your branding, finds like ways on how to improve your craft, whether you're a singer or you're an actor. And then the casting director, this is the person who works for the movies and TV shows, and they are the one that that cast people, actors and singers and whoever. Um, okay, I have a question here. Tell me, Fairlane, does that count? My three purchases from J Hope World Tour. I promise I'll get them tomorrow and send you pictures. Does that count my three merch purchases? I'm not quite sure if I understand your question. Does that count my three merch purchases? No. So your purchases will be 2025, not 2024, if that is what you're asking. Okay. So this guy, the one that they decided to work with, that the guy that is now working Team Esprit. Let me know if I answered your question, if that is what you're actually asking. So this guy is now working in Hybe America, with Scooter Braun and with Bang Shiyuk. So his job, he used to be an agent and he used to manage big names like Britney Spears, Ariana Grande, Lady Gaga, so he's like a big deal as an agent. Like he's a good agent and one of the top ones in CAA. And I think he left CAA, managed Britney Spears for over a year, and I guess he left, and now he is working for Hybe America, and his job is to look for opportunities for the different artists under Hybe America. So the big advantage is because of his network, because he's been there for so long, he knows the people to call, he can get you in the door, he can get you the phone call. So more opportunities for syncs, maybe even acting opportunities if there's anybody who wants that, new partnerships, um, so stuff like that. Okay, so this is actually a good partnership. This one I think they did it right. They are doing right by the talents of Hybe. So this is the difference between an agent and a manager. So an agent gets you the job, and then a manager prepares you for the job. Now for smaller, like if you're just starting out, usually they don't really pay attention much to this, but once you become big, then you can't just like get a manager that will also get you jobs. You need to have an agent and a manager. An agent usually gets 10% of whatever it is that you get paid, and manager, that's up in the air, anywhere between 10 to 20%. Okay. All right, one of the most famous managers is actually the manager of Eminem, because he often mentions his manager in his album. He's included his manager in his albums. So if you are an avid listener of Eminem, you probably have listened to Paul. That's the name of his manager, long time manager of Eminem. They're very loyal to each other. Okay, another acquisition that they've got, another new partnership that they are pursuing is Ryan Tedder. So they signed him and within a partnership, and he is going to help Hybe America come up with a global boy band. So that's the new project, and they just announced that. Okay. So they said that, of course, the debut of Cat's Eye actually taught them a lot, and they think that they can use this same template to debut more groups. And as I've said, the next one is the boy band that will be headed or co-created by Ryan Tedder. Okay. So Ryan Tedder like he is one of the best songwriters, producers of all time. I mean, all the hits that he has written for Beyonce. Okay, next is technology. So, and someone actually questioned this investment, but we'll get to that. One of their major thing is the supertone, which is the AI for voice. So you can copy voices. So they said that you can now use this for commercials, for drama, for other things. Like this is you can also translate. Yeah, you can use this to get the voice of an artist to sing, for them to sing in other languages. So that's where they are headed. But for now, it's being used widely in the industry for drama, for movies, for dubbing, stuff like that. So they said that they now have like 500,000 users already, and they plan on going corporate, meaning they want to partner with companies instead of catering just to retail. So they said that they want to focus on games with streamlined model, meaning they want to be more picky in the games that they will publish and the games that they will develop. They also partnered with the creator of Blizzard, which again is a huge move for them because Blizzard is super successful. So if they manage to get one of the creators to partner with them, they're in the right track. They said that they have actually developed their metaverse capability, but they put all of their projects on pause in the metaverse because the market is not ready yet. But when the time comes, then they'll be ready to go in. Okay. Um, Sylvia said, "Hi, I keep thinking you're coming on at 12 on the East Coast. I hope I didn't miss much. I'll catch what I missed later." Yeah, I'm trying to go earlier, to be more considerate of those who actually wanna who want to tune in, but it's too late for them. So my goal is to go 6:30. I think that's the earliest I can go. All right, now why after all these achievements, having more groups that's contributing to to their profit, why do they have a negative net profit? That is the main question. So and this is the answer. First, um and they were very pretty direct about this. BTS is in the military. So BTS couldn't do any kind of group activity. They can't tour, they can't have shows. The only thing that they did was release albums, which they pre-prepared before they went to the military. But as you know, earnings from streaming, it's not much. We've gone through the cost of that, how much you can actually earn. Even if you're going by billions, if it takes about 230 plus streams for a song to earn $1, and that $1 gets distributed to producers and songwriters and publishers and labels, then it's almost nothing. So even if they're doing really, really well, it's not a lot, right? So if for BTS to really earn, they need brand deals, they need to go on concerts, they need to do shows, they need to do partnerships, and they can only do that after they serve the military. And in 2024, it's really almost nothing. Like that is when they've sort of run out of things that they've pre-prepared, knowing that Jin will be out to take care to sort of continue and continue what where they left off basically. Okay. um and then of course there were a lot of groups that debuted and groups that they are preparing. Two of the groups that debuted, Cat's Eye and Eyelid. And as in any investment, in the beginning, there's a lot of expense, right? That is not just like uh, not just in high, but in any kind of company, in any kind of management company. The first year, second year is always the toughest because you're spending a lot of money. Okay. Oh, sorry. He just wants to say hi. Okay, wait. All right. So that's another reason. So BTS is in the military. They couldn't serve. They couldn't do anything. They're still serving. And then the other one is that there were groups that debuted. And then the other is that new management costs money. So their partnership with Kate Hudson, with Ryan Tedder, these people are not going to work for free, especially with their caliber. You're going to have to give them a pretty attractive initial payment for them to even start, right? If like people like if we I'm sure many of you have been poached by other companies. When you sign, you usually ask for a signing bonus. So do they. If you're going to make them work, they're going to ask for a signing bonus. And then it's not just this too. They've expanded in Latin America, they've expanded the management, they want to acquire skills and networks. And whenever you do a partnership with people like that, you do need to spend. Okay. So that's where a lot of their money actually are being spent on. So at the end, towards the end of the presentation, some stakeholders actually asked a question, and the first person who asked a question asked about the fan-based games and ordinary games. So as you know, BTS, not BTS, Hybe is actually betting big on games. And so this, the stakeholder wanted to know, uh, she felt like it was a miss because a fan-based game, like for example in the Psalm, we're playing games like that because we like it, because we like the group, right? So like we'll make an effort to download, play a little because we like the characters, because they remind us of BTS, and because BTS created these characters. So her question is, are you even in the right track? Because if you are building the gaming department as an independent department, you're still relying on the IP of the artist, then it's not really independent. Okay. So I hope you got that question, because I thought it was a very, very intelligent question. Because if you're going to build up this department as like its own, it shouldn't be relying on the IP of other departments. So what the CEO of Hive said is that it's actually not like games like in the Psalm, BTS Island in the Psalm. This is actually not considered a product of the gaming department. This is a product of the music department. So basically a part of BTS and Big Hit. Because the idea in creating things like this is so that the fans can continuously interact with the group or with the IP of the group. So they're developing ways on how to keep the presence of the artist in the life of the fan. So this is not an effort that belongs to the gaming department or the gaming arm of BTS, of Hive, sorry, of Hive. This is a totally separate effort. So what they're doing in the gaming department, as he has already mentioned before, is that they're looking for licenses and for games that have a greater chances of success, of having a its own fandom, its own loyal players. So that's what they want to do. Okay, and then he's already mentioned that they are prepared for the metaverse and when its time comes. So they've already developed that side of their skill. Okay, but I thought it was a good question because a lot of people keep on wondering, like, what is happening with the gaming department? Okay, now the second person who asked, specifically asked about BTS. So the second person asked a question specifically asked about BTS. So her question was, how much did BTS contribute for 2024, and what is the plan for them in 2025? So obviously, this is my favorite question. Okay, so the short answer is zip. They really didn't want to disclose anything. In all fairness to the CEO, he was like, you know. So they really didn't disclose anything about the plans. They did say like a lot of the new groups are going to have their first fan meet, a mini tour. Les is going to go on their first actual world tour, and then 17, TXT, and Hypen are all going to release an album and go on tour. But with BTS, their biggest IP, nothing. They didn't say anything. They did mention that that Jin and J Hope completed their military service. That J Hope is going to go on his first world tour in 2025, which will begin in a couple of days. Well, in one day. So he said that BTS used to account for 95% of the revenue with but the company has grown. So this is what I was referring to when I said that all the three groups, the three biggest groups, TXT and Hypen and 17 put together, they still can't match the contribution of BTS during when BTS was still before they served the military, because BTS used to account for 95%, and the three groups together, TXT, 17, and Hypen put together, did not contribute 95%. Right now in 2024, with no concerts, nothing really for them to earn, they still contributed 20%. Right around this was he was like he wasn't really certain, like he wasn't exact about it. He was like, maybe 20%, something like that. He didn't specifically said, he wasn't exact about the amount. He made it sound like, I don't know, maybe 20%, something like that. So he said 20%. And this considering, remember, again, people, they did not have any concert. Everybody was serving in the military. no brand deals, nothing. So this 20% is just coming from their licenses and the streaming of their songs. And of course, like, they also specifically mentioned I Am Still of Jungkook. They said that it contributed greatly to the revenue. So that helped in the 20%. Other than that, they really had no other way of earning from BTS. Okay. So they also said that BTS is the flagship artist of the company, and BTS was the one that built Hybe. Hybe equals BTS, BTS equals Hybe, and they will have and they BTS will have Hybe support regardless of what BTS actually wants to do. So a lot of people are um, making a big deal out of this statement. They are making it appear as if Hybe, or the CEO of Hybe, was actually demeaning the contribution of BTS, saying that even if they're not going to earn anything, that we will still support them. That's not what he meant. Number one, I think it was a strategy to sort of veer the conversation away from BTS because he didn't want to disclose anything. It was like a top secret for them, for him to really not mention anything about the BTS members' plans. He didn't say they were going to release an album when they reunite. He didn't say they were planning on a tour. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So um so I think it was his way of sort of like pushing the issue away, so that he doesn't have to further explain anything about BTS. Okay. And second is that he's just saying that even if BTS gets to a point in their career where they're just experimenting and not really thinking about earning, they will still be supporting BTS because it is BTS that created Hype. And as he said, Hype is equals BTS, BTS is equals Hype. So don't pay attention to those people saying, oh, they are demeaning or they're minimizing the contribution of BTS. It wasn't. You can hear it in his voice. That wasn't what he meant. He just meant no matter what happens, he will support, Hype will support BTS. Okay. Major observations for me, as I've said, I think I did appreciate that they didn't say anything about BTS, that they sort of kept it a secret. I like that he could have said something, especially because he's talking to stakeholders and to investors to appease everybody and put everybody and make and encourage people to invest more money. He could have dangled the carrot, right? He could have dangled the meat in this pack of hungry wolves. He could have said, yeah, they're coming back. We have big plans for BTS. Like, just hint on it. Anything that will make people invest more money. But he didn't say that. He was like, nope, I'm not going to talk about BTS. They're like, J Hope is going to do his tour. He's going to start his tour. Jin released an album after his military service, and they're going to, all of them will complete their military service, but he didn't say anything else. Again, I really, really appreciate that. Next is that they really are making a lot of investments in the West, and I think that's really the trajectory of Hype. I think they are the South Korean market is important for them because that's their home turf, and that is where the name starts. But I think in terms of expansion, a lot of the effort is really going into the West for them to actually get Cade Hudson, which is a really, really smart get. That is one ungettable get for them. So for them to get him, that is really going to widen their network, is going to strengthen, to start a lot of the partnerships that they are unable to tap. And he's really going to complement. Actually, he's going to he will be able to do or tap into a lot of opportunities that Scooter Braun isn't able to tap. Scooter Braun is big because a lot of the talents that he used to manage, like Justin Bieber, became big because he's really good at spotting talents. But spotting talents and taking care of them is really different from getting opportunities. And this is what this guy is going to do for them. So that is a good get. And I think partnering with the co-founder of Blizzard is also a good get for them. I hope that it continues. I hope that this partnership will allow them to penetrate the different industries that they are having a hard time tapping, like radio, because that's really getting in the way of the charts, and also develop more relationships within the academy, because they're so isolated in the academy, and that's why they're not winning any kind of Grammy. As you know, Grammys winners are actually determined by votes. If this guy is able to use his own network, I think we're in for BTS members or other artists um of Hybe will be, it's going to be good for them basically. So I hope he's fully integrated into Hybe, and I hope that every member will actually, so the only thing that I'm not sure of is the plans of each member, right? I don't think every member of BTS is interested in going pop. I think, like for example, I think Suga just wants to stay in hip hop because that's where he's comfortable in. I think what he this is just speculation. I do not know them. But I think he is interested in doing a lot of production work, which he kind of alluded to already, but I don't think he wants to like go super pop. So, but whatever the intention or the plan of BTS members may be, I hope that they would be able to fully utilize the networks of Kate Hudson. Okay. All right, let's look for questions. I think that is the end of my presentation. Yeah, that is the end of my presentation.